Hello, this is going to be a story about restoring a mansion and getting rid of some ghosts. You know, when I first encountered spirits in my own home, I was totally unnerved. I also began to doubt my sanity. This was back in the early 80s. We moved into this 3-story brick home. Now, this home had stood the test of time. It was now time for a restoration. We found out that this home was originally a store, then became a local tax collection office. Finally, it was a nursing home, a very private nursing home. And then this home had sat empty for years. So we purchased this home with the hopes of turning it into a warm, luxurious home. So we buried ourselves within these repairs. We got busy on the roof and the furnace, and now our home was drier and it was warmer. We went and replaced some of the missing windows, and now we decided we'd work on the kitchen. Work on this kitchen so my wife could create some delicious meals. I work in the financial field, so I had to go to an adjacent town to deliver an investment proposal. It's my job to help people invest and to prosper. And while I was gone, my wife, she busied herself working on some finishing touches here and there, and she had several projects going at one time, and she started to notice that one of the newer chandeliers started flashing on and off. This home is a rather large home. It has 6 entrance doors. Now, my wife's theory was that perhaps someone had snuck in one of the doors, managed to find a nice cozy spot to hide, right next to a light switch, and was flicking the lights on and off just to be annoying. So when I came home, she decided I should investigate. She sent me to investigate the house while she waited just in case anything disastrous was going to happen. So, go with the flow. Now my 2 labs came along with me, and we started down the hallways, going to check things out, make sure everything was just fine. We got down through one of the first hallways, and one of the doors from the portal literally blew open. It was like it was this mighty gust of wind around it, and it blew this open. Well, the dogs, they began to whimper, and decided they were going to back up. All of a sudden, in the same instant, it was all happening so damn fast. These heavy footsteps came toward us. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anyone. But these heavy footsteps came right towards us. My mind was frantically looking for some kind of logical explanation. The dogs, they turned tail and they left. At this time, a cold, icy air encircled me. These footsteps came up to me and continued right past me, went toward the end of the hallway, and faded out just as quickly as they'd faded in. I gotta tell you, I was quite upset. I was shaken. What the hell had just happened? I was shook, but I decided I was gonna regain my composure. I checked all the rest of the doors. They're all quiet, locked, secure. I was shaken, but I was also doubting myself. So I decided I'd just kind of pass on telling my wife about this because I really couldn't explain what it. I was quite wondering if it really happened. Well, several days had passed since my experience, and I had just about convinced myself that I must have imagined what happened. Well, it was about 3 a.m. and my wife and I were awakened by what sounded like an explosion. I don't mean just somebody dropped a wine glass. I mean it sounded like a tree had collapsed and hit our house. We had no idea exactly what was going on. But our house, of course, had a mixture of old and new. Some of our new windows 10 or 12 feet high. This was a beautiful old mansion, and so we went downstairs. We checked out the first floor. Everything looked good. Looked just like it should be. We went up to the second floor. We went to the third floor. And again, everything looked good. No broken windows. No trees sticking through the roof. Neither of us could figure out what could have made this strange, loud explosion sound. So we waited out the night together. Neither of us getting an awful lot of sleep, and we explored the yard in the morning when the sun came up. We looked all around. There was no broken glass and no tree limbs resting on the house. We even took a drive to town to get some supplies. Over there, we casually asked if anyone had heard any kind of explosions, and no one. No one heard a damn thing. After the loud noises, I confessed to the wife about the footsteps in the hallway. Went there on occasion together, and we noticed that it still continued. It was originally frightening just to hear it, because you had this noise that you could not only hear, you could feel it thumping on the floor as it went by you, but it didn't hurt you. So we decided, we couldn't explain it, but maybe it was just the house settling. Who knew? We decided we'd just tolerate the thumping as it went past us. There was one room that we decided we were going to restore this room to the earlier design. We figured that leaving the modern out of this room was just going to bring out the tasteful beauty of those days going by. And amazingly enough, as this room was finished, the footsteps stopped. One day in the middle of a very busy day, my wife cornered me about moving her chair. Moving a chair. Well, this whole thing ended up that we had a room where it's a beautiful spot to overlook a garden. It's kind of centered in the home. It's an upper level and it's just a perfect spot to look out, relax, think, and do little contemplations of what you want to do. It's just a perfect spot for that. She claims that she saw me moving a chair, which she had positioned just perfectly to look out this window. The trouble is, I hadn't moved this chair. She claimed that she saw me just apparently finished moving the chair, and I turned around, saw her, blew her a kiss, which is totally not anything I've done. Then I moved toward the other doorway, opened the other door, and then opened my arms as if to beckon her to come and give her a hug. No, after moving her chair, a hug is not what she would have given me, she told me. At that point, I turned and walked through the door, and the door closed. Then she claims that same evening, in the middle of the night, as she had turned over, she caught me outside of her doorway, and she sat up and looked at me, and she said at this point I blew her a kiss. Again, totally not me. And again, beckoned her to come, like I wanted to give her a hug. She claimed she uttered something that was not very nice, and then turned over and went back to sleep because she was just totally exhausted from working on the home. What I didn't comprehend then is that this was an omen of something very ominous in our home. One time we were just getting ready to open up another area, a new room. We had this room scheduled for upgrading, so we were both busy. My wife decided to get in the car and go get some colorful accents for the room. So she left and I continued working alone. I was walking down the hall by my bedroom, and I noticed in the hallway that there was an old man standing there. Now this old man was about over 6 feet tall. The old man had salt and pepper hair. He had a uniform of some kind on. So I called out to this guy, "Hey buddy, what do you need? What can I do for you?" He quickly entered my bedroom. I figured, I'm going to figure out what's going on here. So I hurried up and I got to the bedroom. I looked inside and the bedroom is empty. Now this was an oh shit. It really was. Because there's no way out of my bedroom. There's one door to enter that bedroom. That's it. And I'm standing in it. I saw him with my own two eyes. I saw him go in the room. But he's not there anymore. Chills began running up and down my spine. I couldn't believe what had just happened. One of the biggest things that happened to us was we were, of course, working on some more projects. I headed to the basement in search of a tool. I always was leaving tools here and there. My wife was painting, so I went to the basement just for a minute to try and find this tool. To be honest with you, I don't like that basement at all. Basically, I can handle 10 or 15 minutes in that basement, and that's about it. While I was down there, kicking around things, looking here and there, I found this old lantern. Now, this lantern had a whole bunch of character. I decided I was going to bring it up to show my wife. My wife was up there, finished painting and puttering around to go to her next projects. She rounded the corner into the kitchen and she ran into a girl. Now, my wife and this girl, who appeared to be about 12 years old, stood looking at each other. This young girl was she had bare feet, seemed to be a little wet, and my wife noticed that the girl bent down and picked up a lantern and began backing toward the outside, toward the door. Oddly enough, my wife recounted that as she backed away, she started to fade away. When I caught up with my wife, she told me what had happened. She looked at the lantern I have, and she confirmed that that lantern was almost identical to the lantern she saw this young lady carrying. The young lady who was barefooted and backed up and disappeared. At this point, my wife and I really had enough. We took the lantern I'd found in the basement, decided to go to the Historical Society and find out what kind of specialty was this lamp. Was it a magical lamp? So we headed to the Historical Society and talked with about 3 different people. One of the people called us aside before we left, and they gave us the name of a psychic medium. And they indicated that perhaps this psychic medium might be able to help us out with this problem. And it was a problem and a half. And strange old men appearing in hallways, going into my bedroom, disappearing, and footsteps coming down the hall with no one there, just footsteps, totally invisible. My wife runs into a young woman who startles my wife, then out of nowhere picks up a lamp. The young lady and the lamp, they disappear. And if all that wasn't enough for her, then there's this duplicate me, this alternate me that my wife seems to see, who's blowing her kisses. So enough really is enough. It's actually too much. We've never encountered anything like this in our lives, and we really had no idea exactly how to deal with this. So our next step, call this psychic medium and try and figure out what in the hell is going on. Okay, our psychic medium, spiritualist, whatever you want to call her, she came and performed an inspection in the house. The psychic came to us and told us she needed to sit down with us and talk with us because it was very important. There's some things that we really needed to know, and there's things that really needed to be done. So off we went. We sat down, and the psychic related to us that there were many things that are happening in this home. Some of them, the footsteps, the old man, the minor things, they were just residual energy. She explained that this was just energy from a situation that had attached itself to this property to a certain point, and this energy would be there probably forever, repeating itself again and again and again. There was no actual being that could communicate with you or could interact with you or interfere with you. When my wife reported seeing me, she was most likely seeing a shape change kind of creature, spirit, what is commonly referred to by many people as a doppelganger. This was in fact not minor. This could be actually dangerous. So psychic related, she would have to seek some additional help, and there would be supplies that she would have to get in order to rectify the situation. And the house would actually have to be cleansed, to be purified, to get rid of any active spirits, such as the doppelganger, that could interact with us at will and perhaps cause us harm. The psychic left. She said she'd be back in about a day, and she would have the supplies needed to cleanse our area. During the process of trying to remedy these problems, my wife and I were both pushed, scratched. We'd frequently find ourselves being somewhere and all of a sudden make a radical temperature change. The temperature got extremely cold. Apparently we were in the presence of some kind of entity. And like I said, the pushing, the scratching, I even heard growling at night. It was whatever we had done, we'd awakened something, and we're trying to get rid of it. We're trying to get rid of it with various arrays of things. Things I had never, ever known about. It was a combination of crystals and of herbal products that are apparently quite useful in getting rid of some of these entities. If you know about these things, you're quite more informed about plants than I am, because I heard things like ague root for protection, aloe for protection and luck, angelica for exorcism, protection, healing, visions, barley for healing and protection, bittersweet for healing, blackberry for healing and protection, blueberry protection. The plants, of course, were ground up, sprinkled around. They were placed in satchels and hung in doorways. We even had little satchels that we wore around our necks during this time. Peace in the home was finally achieved thanks to 3 mediums. I used 3 mediums to work as a team, one on each floor. They started in unison and began to cleanse the home and try to strongly encourage the entities to leave and find somewhere else and not return. I have to thank these people from the bottom of my heart. I'm so thankful, because I have no idea what I would have done without these people. Thank you all. Thank you so very, very much.
Okay, everybody, please like, subscribe, share that with like-minded friends. Feel free to leave a comment. Thank you for your time for watching this video. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.